Welcome back to College Football 365, where we talk about college football year round. I'm Leland 5150, and I want to do something different tonight. I want to talk about who I feel is the greatest fictional quarterback in movie history. Now, there's been a lot of them, but I wanted to pick two guys. Personally, for me, they're a part of two of my favorite, not only sports movies, but movies in general. And I'm talking about Necessary Roughness, which was made in 1991, and The Program, which is made in 1993. Now, starting with Necessary Roughness, of course, their starting quarterback was Paul Blake and was starred by Scott Bakula of Quantum Leap fame. This movie also had stars such as Sinbad, Jason Bateman, Rob Schneider, and also Kathy Ireland, who was a soccer player turned football player. Now, this one's probably my favorite movie of all time, and it was just a fun movie. And it was made in 91. And then we had The Program, which was Craig Sheffer, who's played the part of Joe Kane, who was their starting quarterback of the ESU Wolves. And we had starred Halle Berry, James Caan, Christy Swanson, and Omar Epps. And a lot of people might not realize this. There's actually two guys who starred in both movies. The first one was Andre Berznowski. He starred as Wyatt, who didn't have a big part of the Necessary Roughness film, but was a big part of The Program, who was well known as the special teams player who roided up and became a madman on the field and ended up getting suspended. But everyone remembers this classic scene from The Program where he's excited to be the starting defense and headbutts a car windshield, actually quite a few of them. But he was obviously a memorable character. And then we also got Dwayne Davis. If Buckeye fans might know this, Wyatt Davis's dad, who went on to be an offensive lineman for the Buckeyes. He also starred in both films, and he was well known for both because he had classic scenes. He was known as he was this track star turned wide receiver who couldn't catch a ball to save his life, and the first ball he did catch was Paul Blake threw a dart right into the middle of his helmet and it got stuck. But he was more memorable in The Program as Alvin Mack, the trash-talking, Lawrence Taylor-esque linebacker who ended up getting a nasty injury. But he's probably one of the most memorable characters, but both of them guys were actually in both films, which is crazy. But let's get to why we're here. We're here to talk about who is the better quarterback. Now, both of these guys both had their characters had struggles in their life. Paul Blake was a highly ranked recruit being recruited by Penn State by Coach Riggendorf back in the day. And his father passed away and he decided to give up football and take over the family farm and run that. So obviously he had issues, and so did Joe Kane. His dad was an alcoholic, wasn't really there, didn't go to any of his football games. So both of them had their issues and struggles they had to get through. But my opinion, if you look at the two teams, Joe Kane had a better stacked roster. He had a real team. He had probably would be a 4-star freshman running back in Omar Epps' character. But if you look at the two quarterbacks, it's just not comparable what they had to deal with. Joe Kane had a real program. And then obviously he had his issues and got suspended and didn't really live up to the hype, even though he was a Heisman candidate. Paul Blake was a 34-year-old freshman quarterback who didn't have regular scholarship players on his roster because his team, the Texas State Armadillos, whole entire team got blew up. It was almost like a Miami-esque or SMU style sanctions where everyone got kicked off the team and they had to build their team through their student body. So for being a 34-year-old quarterback and having to deal all that and doing all that, he ended up still upsetting the number one team in the country in the movie, the Texas Colts. And for Joe Kane, he lost to Michigan. And as a Buckeye fan, that's not something you want to see. So if I had to pick who was the better quarterback, I got to go Paul Blake. It was the movie I liked better, and I just thought he was a better quarterback. And at the end of the day, he was dealing with the student body as his team, and he made the most of it. So in my opinion, it's Paul Blake, but whoever has not seen these two movies, check them out. They're well worth a watch. And that's all I got for this show. I wanted to do a short little show. These are two of my favorite movies, and I just wanted to talk about these two quarterbacks. But that's all I got out. Next show, I'm going to probably start hitting some actual college football stuff. The 2023 season's almost here. I can't wait for week 0. I'm Leland 5150, and I'm